This was back in the early 90s.
I joined my father's construction business.
I would handle the demolition and he the construction.
I was good at my job. One day I received a call from this person and he was claiming to be a secretary for LK Advani. I was like being summoned to the BJP offices. It felt like a hoax. I just forgot about it and then I just went about my day. Until like a few hours later, this white ambassador shows up. These two men step out.
One of them had a machine gun. The other one
Told me that he's come to escort me to Advani sir's house.
and I just got in the car and they took me.
And we show up at his house and Advani greets me and he starts asking me questions about my business and said that he had heard about my work and very impressed. And he asked me like if I was a religious man. I said not particularly. And then he smiles and then he says he wants to hire me to oversee this demolition of the Babri Masjid Mosque.
Considering elections and all coming up, Advani was being super careful as to not piss people off. But he told me that if we appease the Hindus now with this symbolic act or whatever it is, destroy this place, then we'll get the votes and we'll build them a mosque. Like, big deal, we'll fucking build them a mosque. This mosque's old as shit anyway. So I was like, alright, but I wasn't convinced.
But then I thought about him, and we just met Advani. Like, he's like
a famous politician.
I'm sure he knows what he's doing. The next day, he sent me this crazy amount. I was sold. But there were some problems though.
I'm basically gonna need like a little army. And I told Advani this problem and he said, I have a solution. I'm like, what? And we go to this
kind of sports field looking place.
And we're on this stage and there's like these thousands of people just kind of standing there listening to this guy talk, and it was just like Jai Shri Ram and all of that stuff. I had never seen something like this. It was hard to believe.
And Advani says, "Ye rahi tumhari Vanar Sena."
Anyway, I started planning a bit more of the logistics.
We had to go to the location, get some measurements.
I figured that we need to like build the sort of mock dome type structure for the mosque and kind of do a little bit of a rehearsal. We built this thing near the actual mosque, like in the location. We had this open space. We used ropes to break the mosque down from the top. So Advani was like on this kind of weird Rath Yatra thing at the time, which is bullshit. But the end of that Yatra was to have this kind of peaceful rally somewhere near the mosque. I was like, okay, that's an idea. We were there at the end of the yatra. So on the day, I sat on the roof of a building so I could see over everything with Advani and some other politician looking people, and we were just like listening to the speeches, watching the people. And the moment I realized that this is going to be like an evil, malicious thing was when the speeches started to get like increasingly inflammatory and hateful, and the crowd was just getting more and more volatile and restless. So they had like barricades. Like the government knew that this rally is clearly a farce and they're gonna fucking destroy everything. As the speeches got more and more violent, gates and everything started to slowly sway more because people were holding on to the grill and they were shaking it. They literally wanted to like rip the gate apart. And as the crowd got more and more violent, I noticed like people were actually like climbing over the gates. And as more and more men started to jump over, the police just gradually just like fled. All the men eventually swarmed into the mosque, and all I could hear after that was like tick 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 tick. The speeches on the PA system stopped. Some guy got hold of the mic and he started singing like Jai Shri Ram and chanting and hymns and all, and then these guys were breaking it. I couldn't believe this. I could hear like the leaders like chide the men, like they were scolding them, but basically it was like a parent like scolding like a naughty child. And I remember seeing this one guy who was like so enthusiastically breaking down a wall during rehearsal. He told me he was studying to be a lawyer, and just the energy with which he was breaking down that wall, my mind just went to this dizzy and confused place, and I actually started to feel sick. Then I laid down for some time, and when I woke up, it was pretty dark. I could still hear like a little bit of knocking and singing and stuff in the distance, and I went outside and I couldn't believe it. We had raised this fucking mosque to the ground. I started to get a little paranoid. I felt like my life was in danger at that time, and I tried to find Advani, but nobody was there. I felt really, really alone at that time. So anyway, I left for Delhi that same night, and I came back to my old life. The guilt of what I had done alienated me from my family. I started having these terrible nightmares until one day I came across the Quran. A line caught my attention. It says, Islam means peace. And something happened at the moment. I can't describe it, but it was like this inner transformation. I knew I had to change my life. I knew there was something wrong with me. So I gradually converted. It was shocking to a lot of my Hindu friends and relatives, but the strangeness with which my wife and my son looked at me, washed away. So it's been 30 years now since that incident, and I still work in construction. But these days I devote my time to creating mosques. I know I can't forget the past, but all I can say is that I walk this path of redemption, and I will do that till I die.